think we're streaming. Check, check. Yep, okay. This is the agenda. Check. All right, audio's good. First thing I need to do is just run the sim. So we're on this branch, we're going to do a new wrong there's 20 minutes. So I'm gonna fix with these warnings. I kind of want to look at there. I got a bunch of reports about Virtual Boy not working, and then I went to just test it a minute ago and it immediately crashed. So I gotta look into what that's about.
Japan was a smooth route. So we first go more about the history and legend. Because of this, I tell them about the people. He already knew that he had a ground himself in the or he has a bunch of Kalakawa. Some here in Tower, he has a wonderful just on the street. They have a support.
Alright, so let's run the sim. Import a Virtual Boy ROM. I'm expecting it to just immediately crash. So we can get the stack trace. Resize this one. Glitching the audio. Can give priority to oh, good. Nasty. I have a Thunderbolt Drobo, and they're the biggest pieces of crap. Like, after a reboot, I have to restart it like 2 or 3 times before it even recognizes what's wrong with my ROMs. still building. I guess I must have cleared all my caches. I was out of hard drive space, so I cleared expert caches. So it takes 7 minutes or so to build from scratch, which isn't bad. It used to be like half an hour. So it's just building dependencies. That should be fine in a second. Test chat. Twitch not working? Twitch stream is up, the chat pre-stream to Twitch. I have a small agenda, so yeah. I'm gonna test Virtual Boy real quick. I think it's an easy fix. I already have a branch where I started porting. There was a minor update to Mendifin. I didn't put it in 2.0, but I already have the new code for it. Oh, my Discord popped up. A new bot in Discord called Dr. Mario. Yeah, so Mendifin 127.0, we were using like 127.0 pre-release. There was no 1.0 official, 127.0 official. There was a minor update to 127.1. Which I think I have Chiva. So yeah, the 2.0 we just released last week. It's this release, 127.0 unstable. I think it's around that version. So the changes increase. I don't think we even use this, so I'm not worried about that. This is interesting. I was looking at this the other day actually. This is for data structures. The way the compiler packs them. This should probably be inconsequential. I think playing doesn't really make a difference between you use both. Rename, yada yada yada. So Sega Saturn corrected a few inaccuracies in the handling of SCSP phase transitions. I don't know what SCSP is. I don't know if it's a particular game or if it's part of the engine. I don't really care about SNES because we prefer SNES Linux. We leave it in just to have it as a backup. It's already doing for the work of compiling Mendifin, but it's not the preferred one, so I don't really care about changes in that. And just some minor database update for Saturn. It's mostly probably inconsequential. Nothing for Virtual Boy. I don't even know when Virtual Boy was last. So there was a change for Virtual Boy, and I wonder if that's where our bug is. Oh, hello, chat. Oh, Mythical back from last last week. I looked at Beetle Metafin fork to see if we were better. Yeah, so Beetle was the fork that Retro Arch team did for Metafin PlayStation 1, but then they added a bunch of I don't know what there's a name for the technology, but like basically taking the internal OpenGL draws from, well, not, whatever the API or SDK is from PlayStation for internal 3D rendering, it upscales it to higher, like, it gets rid of the jaggies. Anyway, so that was something they added to Beetle Metafin, but now there's a new fork of that. Am I confusing? Anyway, long story short, I looked at Beetle. There might even be a branch, I think. Yeah, I looked at Beetle a while ago, and also the Saturn ARM Gap Spouse, I would say. We don't need that anymore because we have Saturn through Metafin now. PSS Beetle, yeah, so PSS Beetle added the upscaling. I want to say there's a new fork of that now. I don't really need the project. Oh, it's on my YouTube. Just watching videos for the other day. Basically, it's another fork of PSX Beetle. And it has better OpenGL support. That's what I read, which is good for us. Because I think a lot of the upscaling from PSX Beetle, I think a lot of those devs are heavy into Vulkan because people are mostly using them on Android. Duck Station. I didn't even. I remembered it right before I saw it. That always happens when you can't remember something. You're about to find it, and then yeah, Duck Station. So that is a fork, and they've added a bunch of other like upscaling and shit. Like, can you adjust the music track? That actually just increase the mic volume too. I think most of the music is just too loud in general. It's so confusing. I have to like adjust my headphones in a weird way because I'm using. Check. Let me know in chat if it sounds better. Okay, cool. So it's fine on the build. Jesus, that took longer than expected. I think that's what I'm running. Let me start that. I think the bit rate is drifting too. That's why it's getting crackles. I should have left it at 44.1. I changed everything to 4800 kilohertz. I think it's screwing things up. So I had to use this plugin called Black Hole to capture desktop audio, route that to OBS, and then also so I can still hear it on my headphones and monitor without having echo. I had to use like 2 different sound devices on a multi-output device on OS X, so it's kind of a pain in the ass. So I think that's why it's give me bitrate. Yeah, it changed it to 44.1. Damn it, it's incorrect. Change this to 44.1 and won't drift. I don't know if you heard it in my headphones. I was getting like digital distortion because the sample rates were drifting. It should be better. Anyway, yes. Failed to extract archive. Why is it? There's something on the disk. All right, let me just do this real quick. I already installed this ROM. I'm expecting it to just crash, I think. Oh, you have black hole. Yeah, you can kind of change the device. You can change the volumes, but you have to go into like the app that's in utilities and go to audio MIDI devices, and you can go to like the actual. So I could change my headphones here, but yeah, I can't change it from the drop down. That's kind of a hack if you want to do it that way. Well, not really a hack, but oh, okay. Huh. I don't like that because I don't know. This is like internal Medithin code. Game limiter disappears. Yeah, I've had a couple of people reporting that. A few questions for you then. Were you updating from 1.5 to 2.0 and using the same bundle ID, so it's an upgrade? And then if that's also the case, did you previously have iCloud syncing on? Because I'm suspicious that the iCloud code, which was working and probably isn't working and should be off by default, but I saw a bug request where someone had a screenshot. It looked like some iCloud code was being called, and it was screwing up file paths because it was adding. It was appending like iCloud paths to stuff, and that seemed to be breaking around. So, yeah, let me know if that's like, how did you get to 2.0? Did you fresh install? And I think from fresh installs, iCloud's turned off. Let me look at this first. The debugger here. I don't know why it's pausing here. So we load the file from the path. Check the path. So what I can do, since I'm running the simulator, what I could do is I can actually copy this path. So I'm going to resize Windows. So I could just like copy paste that path from the simulator into here, and it should open the. Where's my quote? It's going to open the directory. You can find it. All right, so the ROM is there. So that at least I know. Trying to do an exception. Load file at path. Oh, you know what? I think Medithin just throws a lot of exceptions anyway. It's written in C++, and I think that he uses exceptions for like standard stuff. So it might be okay for me to just. So this is a bad access. That's not an exception. I might have to. So I'm trying to decide what to do with the streams, and I feel like stuff like this, this is going to be complicated. It's probably best to do off stream because I don't know how long it'll take me to fix something like this. So I really have to dig in and see like what changed. I mean, this looks like a valid pointer. So it gets this far. You know, this is a, I guess this is some kind of like struct, and it's setting properties, and if this was not allocated, I'm pretty sure in C++, if I tried setting a property on non-allocated struct, that would crash. So maybe this, I'm assuming this is a struct as well. Yeah. And then this has fucking C++, man. This is a struct. I haven't done C++ in forever. Structs can have functions? I guess they can. Function pointers. So this struct has a function pointer called load. Why is it not a class? Throws exception on fatal error. So this is calling emulate. So, all right, so that struct is good. This function is valid. The pointer's okay because this is the function pointer for that struct. And this function comes in and it tries to do something with whatever the hell this thing is. So does this have any values in it? No, this is all null. So something should be probably setting values here. Yeah, and this class is specific to virtual void. Can you see that? I should be on the screen a lot bigger. So this class's crashing is only used for virtual void. Oh, what's up, Oz? Oz, don't you know that I'm like internet famous with nerds now? I don't even know. Like, my chat is weird because it combines all the different feeds. So, but yeah. All right, so this is definitely a bad bug because it's definitely happening. And this struct is definitely blank. I wonder if even like just commenting it out and rerunning it works. I wore my special. I got these T-shirts from Nintendo Japan like 6 months ago. I haven't worn them yet. I don't really wear T-shirts. I had a really cool hat though, and I gave away to a guy I met in St. Martin. So he was cool, he was a concierge guy, and then he ended up being kind of an asshole, and I regret giving him my hat. A Super Mario World flat print. It was awesome. Oh, see, that's weird. Okay, so like whatever this line of code is, not important. I wonder if it's an out of order. It's probably that. It's probably like something's out of order, a race condition, what we should be calling a function. Didn't pause. Not taking any input. All right, that's. Oh, pad data. That's what it is. This is the game. This is for. Yeah, that's what this is. This is definitely the buffer where we store. I bet I could fix this real quick. Let me see. This is the buffer where we are sending controller inputs. That's why nothing's happening when I hit buttons there. We probably have to initialize it with like 0 data. I don't know why we didn't have to do that before, but whatever they changed in Mednafin since the last release, it seems to be causing problems there. So let's go to Mednafin Game Core.
I like your groove. I like the way you move.
This is gonna be, this might be a pain in the ass still. Let me look at the inputs. Maybe just call like a blank input.
I like the way you move. Your rhythm and your body.
Close the debug. Track ID? Oh, you'll like this, Oz. I don't know, I was listening to it today. I have echo in my headphones up. This is, oh, I know, hold on, I gotta change my monitoring settings here on my stream software. Second. Let's run monitoring. Okay. I had an echo because I was monitoring the same channel. Yeah, what was this? I don't know, it's an old podcast, John Talbot, it starts like slow, and it gets kind of crazy. I was working on my car before, so this I wanted to play on stream. Alright, let me close this window. How do you close this? Yeah, so I'm gonna assume that if I just set a controller input before that, yeah, it's kind of weird that only Virtual Boy would have that bug. I'm talking about all the Medifin cores because I definitely tested PlayStation the other day, and you know what? Did I? I feel like I would have gotten more bug reports from people if PlayStation was busted. So I want to go ahead and say that works. Medifin is also using PlayStation, so that should be okay. I also changed this from org to org. I lost my Combat Provenance bundle that I used with Apple. Locked another development account a couple of years ago. They were supposed to unlock it, and they never did. Virtual Boy, so I should be getting here. So what I could do is just try writing that buffer, the controller, if I can find it, or see, I think the game gets loaded and that just reads the metadata. Let me put some breakpoints in here and rerun. I haven't looked at this code in like a year and a half. I know what my class does, like this stuff. I just don't know what's going on internally with Medifin. We're calling all these like C++ functions to set stuff up correctly. It's kind of a crapshoot because we look at I look at like the front end that they ship with, and I try to see like what their app does to call. Because I'm loading this as a library, but Medifin is meant to be shipped as an app. You know, so I have to like reverse engineer what the hell they're doing. A few questions in chat. Yeah, PSX fine. I mean, alright, PSX is fine for you. Is this new 127.1? No. Yeah, you missed the part where I mentioned that I wasn't sure if there was going to be a change. I looked at the change log for 127.1 from 127.0 pre-release that we're using in Medifin, and there was nothing in the comments at all from Virtual Boy. But Virtual Boy got updated for 127.0 from whatever we were using before, and I haven't tested Virtual Boy in God knows how long. So I think maybe this bug got introduced when we updated Medifin for the 2.0 release. But I don't think 127.1 makes a difference. I have a branch with it already, but okay. But I haven't merged it yet. Alright, so it goes to here. It gets this fucking audio screen. Does this sound digitally distorted to you, or is it? I don't know if it's my audio or. But this thing is like drifting bit rates. Super annoying. Yeah, I gotta restart the audio device. 44.1. Yeah, that's correct. 44.1. That's correct. Super weird. There it goes. Okay. Little flan. Yeah, it's because the clocks are drifting. I know so much about digital audio. I used to work for this company, and one of my they used to be called Sulu, so they called Roon. They were owned by this UK company called Meridian, which is this high-end audiophile company. They wanted to get into like the home audio software business for a little bit, and they ended up selling that sub-company off again for a year later. Anyway, long story short, I ended up having to port core audio to Monomac, like the C# mono port, back when it was called Monomac, and like there's no documentation for core audio. So all this stuff like sample rates and like aggregate devices and having to deal with drift was the bane of my existence for like 6 months. But I made some good friends along the way. Miguel works for Microsoft now. He wrote cursive, like the command line ASCII toolkit curses, like was written by this guy Miguel. He must have been like 15 when he did it, because that's from the mid 90s. Because he's not that much older than me, but he works for Microsoft now, and he's like one of the lead developers on Mono. Well, he wrote C# Mono himself, and then that got bought by Novell, and then Novell went out of existence. Basically, the Microsoft bought it a few years ago. Like, so the open source version of C# is basically his project. Nice and messy. Yeah, core audio documentation just sucks. It just is not for all things. It's a great API. It's a really good API, and like also is based off of core audio. Like the whole pull a buffer on demand and like synchronizing your like game thread off of that, everything like that, comes from core audio, I believe. Just like how Quartz, like PDF, with the whole UI system does come. Like Apple had some really interesting technologies back in the 90s that like kind of went on to become other things on other platforms. I mean, Quartz is basically PDF. And core audio and also like very similar. So what was I going? So this is loading the game here. So game's not nil, but I know. Yeah, so we get to the system-specific initializers. Don't care about multi-tap for now. I should probably do that sometime. Yeah, I think it gets as far as emulation run, and that's where it crashes, right? Set media. What does no mean? I hate not having labels for functions. Skip frame. Okay, no. Yep. Maybe we should skip a frame there. I mean, nothing's really rendering anyway. Set game speed. Yeah, so we're basically taking the Mendefin struct and we're setting some properties just to default. So this might be where we have to like set basically a blank buffer for the controller input. So much commented code. I don't know. People think this is bad. On teams I managed, I would have people put pull requests in to delete my own comments, and I was like, yeah, I get it's bad. There's like not a really good way of like temporarily disabling code that like you're gonna have to go back to later. And if I put it into a different branch, I'll never find it ever again. So I always leave like chunks of commented out code. I don't really give a shit. Other people think it's bad form. I'm just gonna see if this crashes again. Emulate run. I know should spawn us from the thread. Okay, we call emulate run. We get to here. Sorry if I'm jumping around a little bit quick. I'm actually trying to get my bearings on where I am. This is Mendefin source code. This is our code. Oh, we get to here before we crash. So let me see what current spec has. I guarantee you there's just like some buffer I have to like just set to. Oh, current is my self pointer. I still think for no gamepad. See, why would Virtual Boy be the only one that needs the gamepad? The other thing I could do is be super lazy and see it's just moving this to the end or something. Again, I'm thinking like race condition here. fine. Breadcrumbs. What do you mean by that? Don't worry about the. I mean, Virtual Boy's crap. You can't play Virtual Boy right now, so like that should be like the first thing I fix, right? Because like anything that's like a crash, like a hard crash, it's something we should definitely fix. I don't know what the fuck that was. Oh, well, there's no buffer. Can't do that yet. Let me turn off audio. Oh, for the comments, even some code. Yeah, I mean, it's mostly my code base anyway, so who gives a shit? I didn't think it's funny because I actually had somebody put a PR in today for Providence, and like it removes a bunch of stuff. It's the PR that it says like it removes Carthage and Rome, which I already did before release, but like I guess there's some scripts, and like I don't know, I don't want to delete them because it's like the scripts, like if we ever need it again, they're just scripts, they're not calling them, you know? And, I wanted to comment on the PR, like, you know, I might just leave these. Yeah, I just want to remove Carthage references. Because like, for instance, like getting rid of them on Git Ignore, like I was going to comment on this, but like, hey, can you change this? Because I don't want to get rid of them on Git Ignore. The problem is somebody already had checked out an older version of Providence. And like they were using Carthage, and then they do like a git pull. Well, if they get the new Git Ignore and they had installed Carthage before, their local checkout will have a bunch of like updates, and they're going to be confused. They'll have to like delete the folders and all this shit. So I kind of want to leave the Git Ignore the way it is, because like it's benign. The game is like Swift format, like just leave it. Because again, if people have used the older checkout and they update, if they've used Carthage before, they'll still have those folders there. So then if they run Swift lint, which happens when you build an Xcode, they'll see a bunch of errors for code that technically shouldn't be there anyway, but because when you git update, it doesn't delete the folders automatically, they'll still be there for certain people. Again, like getting rid of the Travis, YAML, like, let's leave it. This is probably good.
Vad skulle det här känna till? Det är inte därför. Det är inte så vi någonsin lär oss älskade. Det som verkligen sker sig aldrig. Och skulle vi se det, då skulle vi vara lyckliga människor. Lyckliga människor. Vem skulle orka med det? Bara en svartsjuka som krasande
I mean, it still happens. So I don't know where we're setting pad data.
tränger sig in, vill inte.
Are we even doing that ourselves?
Till slut fastnar hon ensam. Om man
Where we're setting pad.
går vilse i en skog,
Input
det är
buffer.
alltså
Game to input.
det är bara gå i en
Like I just
riktning.
called. I
Försök
should
hitta ett mål, hitta en utväg.
probably pull this book. I think we are for it.
Gå efter stjärnorna. Man bara fortsätter och gå. Slutligen hittar man en utväg. Men om
Nation run.
går vilse,
That's crashing here, but lower.
då finns inget yttre att navigera efter. Man kan inte se någon riktning. Man är inställd, det är låst. Man försöker gå alla
Set
sätt.
input.
Man försöker till med våld.
Oh, you know what? This is a big if switch, though. So I wonder if virtual. Oh,
Men det finns ingen väg.
that's the bug. That's the bug, isn't it? That's the bug. There's nothing here for Virtual Boy, is there? So we're never setting the buffer. probably should be called B, right?
Tillbaka till samma ställe. Vad skulle det här tjäna till? Det är inte det här för. Det är inte så.
That's the bug. The switch statement is missing. I should have used the switch here because I would have gotten warnings. First of all, it's an eater code, and I would have gotten a warning if I didn't complete my switch. Well, at least it's swift. I don't know if that's I also wrote this. I hate staggered. Let's see if that works. Type mismatch? No, we just didn't use the switch. So I guess the thing is, it didn't matter before where Virtual Boy is trying to read the buffer for the controller, and it's nil. I might even need two controllers, I think, because that Virtual Boy definitely supports two inputs. Like if you have linked systems or something. So it might still crash here. Yeah, see how it's data pointer 1 and data pointer 2? I think it's two controllers. But now I bet this isn't nil anymore. No, that still is nil. I don't know if that's supposed to be nil or nil. Yeah, that's what happens when the clocks drift. Pause that for a second. Oh, there is an else though. Maybe it needed both of them set. We'll see. I mean, it could be, yeah, it could have been that. Maybe it needed both controller inputs set. Like maybe Virtual Boy added two-player support, and then what it expects like both controller inputs to have buffers. Oh, that's different. So that's good. I think this is the simulator being a bitch. So we got a different crash. So I think that's probably what the issue was. And I wonder if in that else, like for future. Should I just always set this? Like what? Name a system that only has one input. Probably none, right? I mean, Virtual Boy would have been the one I would have thought. But does it even see this like special code? See, yeah, the EN16 LSB. That looks familiar, right? There was a least significant bit macro on that input too. So like, if this still crashes, I'm gonna look at this. Because this is, yeah, the weird code for PlayStation multi-tap support. Which gives us some insight, because I forget how the buffers were being written for the controlling input. I'm gonna forget what else I touched, so I'm gonna go to Git. I gotta delete whatever that file is. Yeah, look at the file sizes. Oh, you know what? Because I copied from iCloud and it does this. Like, that's not enough bytes for any zip. So they're just corrupted. Good sign. Didn't crash. All right, virtual voice fixed. I have to take a pee break. So I'm gonna say success. Did not think I could do that live on chat. I should make a new branch. I'm gonna commit this and make a new branch. How's that called? Virtual voice? Now I'll make a new branch and just copy that commit. That's not even right. Oh, that was, you see that? This is the F1 TV, Apple TV app. I was building that the other day. Thank you for the recommendation. What the hell's the problem? Flow, feature, start, virtual, void, branch fix. Still don't have a commit, so let me take the commit. The branch, which was morning 6th. Directly commit that. I know, it seems like a lot of effort, but like, this is the proper way of doing things. So publish that branch. PR create, I'll need it to be so we'll probably do a 201 like really soon just to fix this. So let me get that pull request started so the Azure pipeline runs. All right, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna pee. I'll be back in 2 seconds. And I'm back. Okay. Yeah, someone actually tweeted at me, like literally a couple hours ago too, about workflow for it. So it's good to get that fixed. I can't believe I got that quickly. Like I was really concerned I was going to dig into that code. What a weird bug. Like, and like C++, like he has Metafin uses exceptions for error handling, but instead of having an exception there, he just has like doesn't check his pointer and it just crashes. So like, why go through all the effort of having C++ exceptions and not use them? Also, I don't believe we might compile with exceptions off for performance. It's like adding exceptions to the runtime adds some overhead for C++. For Swift it doesn't, or nor for Objective-C. For C++ adds runtime overhead. So I've been told. Cool, so that works. Actually, what I should do, because I actually made an official issue, 1555. If I edit this commit, yeah, I can do that. It's gonna, yeah, it closes. 1555. Then GitHub will automatically link the issue, and it'll close the ticket when I merge this into It's gonna fuck up a sure though, but the fact that it got this far, I'm gonna say I don't expect anything to not work on this, so I'm just gonna merge that forward once it does this. I added a new milestone for 201 as well. But I renamed the 1.5 milestone 2.0 and then closed it. So any tickets that were open on that milestone have to be re-added to different milestones, I guess. I don't know how GitHub does it. I know like Jira, which we're not using, though I tried getting an open source license for it, which we could do. We have to have our website working before they give us the key. Jira would automatically, like, if you deleted a release that still had open tickets, would just bump them to the next release. GitHub milestones if they aren't releases, so I don't expect that to even work. But so I don't know if I have to re-add those to a new release or not. But anyway, long story short, there is a milestone for 201. My administrative privileges. So now that should automatically link that. Yeah, so it closed that issue automatically, which is nice. It was automatically linked because I put the ticket number in there. Well, I guess that didn't anything. It doesn't matter. At least it picked it up. As soon as you merge a commit that has a ticket number in it into the master branch, which for us is developed, check to see if the Twitter retweet went test Retro Boy. Well, that's done. Well, I guess I could say the Metafin PR. Here's the distortion coming back again. God damn it. It could be this app too. It's like running an embedded Safari. It's kind of weird. Oop. Let's try scrubbing it. Damn it, the fucking bit rates are all screwed up. I'll just do this, it seems to fix it. Yeah, there it goes. Alright, so that worked. So let me fetch, develop. It's probably a faster way of doing this, but let me check that branch. Is the audio good on the mic now? Like, the mic is over the back. I actually could use a filter, a compressor to side chain it up. That should work. Check. So it should duck the audio. Well, maybe. I can't hear. I'll have to listen to the recorded version here. Increase my compressor. Check. Oh, that amplified too much. I forget how. Yeah, okay, yeah, there we go. So that'll bump the fuck out of my audio because I'm increasing the ratio on the compressor. You're a little soft on voice. How's that? Increase that too. Yeah, I think I should, yeah, now I'm peaking, right? Check, check. Yeah, that basically peaks. Okay. That, see, yeah, I haven't used a compressor that doesn't have knobs in forever, so I don't really know, like, what. I'm trying to boost the quiet parts. That should be better. I do not really kill this. Alright, let me check that branch back out. Hopefully this, I'm gonna try a rebase. That should go smooth. Yep, okay, so I did a rebase, I'm gonna force push that. I changed the history of that branch. By the way, I meant to cover logos on adult beverage. I don't know the Twitch terms of service. I know people get banned for all sorts of random shit these days, but take a little back. Probably change the ratio slightly lower. Check, check. Okay, so I don't think I'm. I was about to say I don't think I'm peaking, but I just peaked. Check, check. Also, the microphone is like in my shirt. Check. That's probably better. Check. Yeah. Okay. Screen. All right, so this should build like fine. So all I did was I merged that PR to develop, just like forcibly. It was only one little thing, right? So that helped. Okay. Let me. I sometimes I still see some red, but I have a limit. I have a limiter on there, so that it should not like peak. I also had this volume turned down a little bit, so I'll turn that back up. That should be a little more in line. Okay. So yeah, so I merged that PR into develop that fixed the Virtual Boy issue. You know, the one thing I need to do is I need to start adding stuff to the changelog. I was gonna add a there's this like GitHub bot. Well, not really it's for anything, called Danger. It's like written in Ruby, I believe, like most things these days, and you basically write a configuration file, similar like CocoaPods. Oh, this is the part of the track I really like. And you can have it like basically, instead of being pedantic on PRs, my philosophy when I was managing big teams was always like, you know, you're their boss, not their friend. At the same time, like, you want to be an asshole to people. So like, if there's little things like white space mistakes, other bullshit in a PR, you're better off having a bot send those things out instead of having like be a manager and be like, hey, can you redo this PR but change your carriage returns or new lines at the end of a file? So Danger basically is a bot that like you could set a bunch of rules like that. One of them is if you change certain files in a certain directory or a number of lines or added files, it'll check other stuff, and I can have it print a warning or an error, or like not accept the PR automatically. So one of them is I want to have it so it forces you to update the changelog if you've updated any of the core code. So I was gonna add that. Maybe like, let's see. I'll add it soon. I'm not gonna add it on stream, I don't think, because it's already 11:30. So in the meantime, let me. Added it to the project. Where is it? Nice. Good audio-wise now? Alright, cool, thanks. Yeah, I should probably check that stuff for me, like for real. Yeah, sure. Forget the format. Updated, added, I think fixed. Yeah, so like if you add the ticket number to the changelog as well, GitHub will add it. So if I do the little bit of work now, when I do the release, I don't have to like rush to be like, what were all the changes? And, you know, making all the links work and everything. So if I just do 1555, Virtual Boy. My cursor jumps around sometimes. Crash on open. This should be the ticket number for this. There's no ticket for this. I'll use the 15. Right. That sounds correct. Yeah, that's what my friend Bounce, but he's another techno head. Maybe he's still in there. That's what I was talking about earlier in the stream. I was like, this is a 90-minute set, and like it changes on you midway to this whole like hypnotic loop. Let me know if it gets too loud. But, you know. I did that wrong too, whatever. I did 112 I should probably test this, I guess. Did I rebuild it from that branch or something? Well, I guess I'll find out real quick. Let me test this real quick. I'm just trying to decide if I need to like have this reviewed or not. Again, who's gonna review it? Okay, so this is the Virtual Boy fix ported, well, up-merged to the 127.1 Metafin. So if this is working, what else do we use for Metafin? I don't know if I don't have any PlayStation ROMs on here. We try like an SNES. So I think people reported issues with that too, actually. Or I had an error on my device. I didn't think it resolved itself. Okay, this is also fine. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and merge this. You know, it's working. It's only 2 commits, so I'll just do a standard merge commit. I used to do a lot of the squasher merges. That's another thing where people have political views about Git. Should you do a rebase versus a merge? I prefer rebases, but they are more work, especially for Xcode files. They're a nightmare to do diffs. But when you have like a fast forward that has to keep resolving the same diffs. I'm basically like a psychopath, and I'll sit there for an hour and look at the diff app and like manually correct Xcode project file diffs, just so I can have rebases, because I like my history to be clean. But in this case, bam, done. PC Engine? Okay, I do have the ROMs here. I was mentioned before you got on, my Drobo is a piece of shit. I have like the only Thunderbolt 3 Drobo, because usually they're nasty. I don't know, should I not have my serial number on the stream? And it wasn't working for days, and just started working suddenly, so all my ROMs are on that. Like my big ROMs, not my PC Engine CDs and stuff like that. Wait, no, PC Engine doesn't even use CDs, right? Those are smaller. So those are on my iCloud. Alright, you know, it's too late, I already merged it. So I'm gonna do a really boring commit right now. I'm just gonna fix all these warnings.
Hard work always gonna pay back. Hard work always gonna pay back.
Audio's getting out of sync again.
Hard work always gonna pay back.
It's a quick hack, huh?
Hard work always gonna pay back.
No problem, you check tomorrow. Yeah, let me know tomorrow. I know you're like the only person that I think uses PC Engine anyway. Like, people use Virtual Boy apparently, because I had people complaining about the bugs on that. You know, there's a Virtual Boy fork that someone used for their senior thesis, and they took Provenance like 1.4, and they forked it and deleted all the code that wasn't Virtual Boy. So basically, it's like Provenance with Metafin Virtual Boy only as a core. And they changed the icon and some other shit. But then they edited Virtual Boy to have stereoscopic video, so you could take like the Google Cardboard with the iPhone. So technically, I could port that because it's based off of Provenance. But so there's one other person I knew that was like really interested in Virtual Boy. An emulator using Google Cardboard VR. this is it. This dude ported Virtual Boy from Provenance, PD support, look, see? So, but then added it so it used stereoscopic video that you could then like use on Google Cardboard. So this would be neat if, I don't know if Apple releases, I mean, Apple's definitely coming out with a headset, right? We all know that, a VR headset eventually. So we'll be ready with this. Clear out, all right. Later, Mr. J, thanks.
Hard work
let's fix these
always gonna
warnings.
pay back. Hard work always gonna pay back.
A lot of them are bullshit. Just like fix the project setting. Up the minimum target's 12. No, I don't want to. We're gonna do that anyway, but. Yeah. It's also if I uncheck these, it'll put a setting in the project file to at least have it not warn about these again. So even if you don't do this change, just unchecking them and hitting perform changes
Hard work always gonna pay
will
back.
will stop these warnings from showing up. We'll probably go to iOS 12
Hard work
in a
always
future
gonna pay
release.
back.
There's really no reason not to, because every device that supports iOS 11 also supports iOS 12. After 12.4, you start
Hard work
losing
always gonna pay back.
some older devices, like my iPad Air 2, which I do use to test. So we could go to iOS 12 eventually, but not 13 as a minimum target. Plus, I like supporting older devices. I figure people will be running emulators on like their old crappy iPhone or old crappy iPad. So we try to support as many as we can within reason.
Hard work always gonna pay back.
Hopefully this doesn't cause any issues. It should be pretty simple. Just do core options to allow us more element. Yeah.
Pay back.
So that was the thing I was debating doing next, was core options. A lot of people are really interested in Dreamcast, and they were like kind of mad that it's not in 2.0. And I was like, listen, Flycast forked from Recast. Recast was a mess anyway, kind of. So we'll get to that, and like every part of my being wants to finish Dreamcast, but I think doing core options is going to be the next thing I actually write, because it's a hassle for me and everybody else to like not be able to change some of these settings, especially now we're supporting so many wide variety of devices. Like N64 is hard-coded to upscale textures, not everyone wants that. So these I can just do in one go. Just match the project. VJECT, yeah, so instead of fixing them one at a time, I'll just do that. Just build, test it, I didn't break anything. Flycast probably the best after core options. Yeah, Flycast would be the way to go. I have two things I want, HE modes, HE mode 7 for SNES. I think I kind of know what you're talking about. I know the SNES hardware runs in different modes. I don't know if I didn't know we didn't support that. Perspective correction for PlayStation. Also, probably something that, again, like, so that if that's in one of the cores we have now, there's no way to turn it on. I just don't know if any of the cores we have support those. The N64 has the most amount of options because each plugin has options, right? In fact, we actually compile all of the different N64 plugins, like Glide-In, which is the only one that really runs well, but like, you know, Rice, which we did have working, the different HLE plugins. So those are all being compiled, and we actually used a really hacky hack that now is more normal in iOS, but at the time wasn't, which was using like diaload dynamic library C functions to load the libraries dynamically at runtime. You can't unload them, so once you run N64, that memory is always stolen. At least it was as far as back in iOS 12. You could die load, but you can't die unload. I mean, you can call it, nothing happens, so you'll notice your memory doesn't go down. So anyway, we could have options for N64 to even support like Rice or Gliden. Gliden again is the fastest one, but for newer devices and slower games, if you wanted like more accurate emulation, you can use Rice, which again, we're compiling, you just can't select it.
7. It's a bit of a miracle, really.
Yeah, core options. Yeah, so I started doing core options. So here's the thing, I have another branch where I ported all emulator core to Swift, but it's very tricky because of some.
A bit of a miracle.
Because of the way our classes are structured, there's some polymorphism going on. And older versions of Swift, when I tried doing this, there's a couple of things I really needed to do that I couldn't do with Swift port occurs.
It's a bit of a miracle, really.
So I started writing like. It's also when I was like balls deep into some really high-end Swift, and I tried to do something as like I tried doing everything as very generic protocols with default implementations, and I basically wanted it so you could write the settings as code, and then the Swift protocols would like basically auto-generate all the advanced structs you need, so you could have like a bool type switch, and then have that as a protocol, and then have like a bool labels type switch that you can have like other options, and it's all very smart. It was very advanced generic Swift, but the compiler just hated something because we were trying to use it because remember the cores are still Objective-C. So then I went down this rabbit hole. I go, okay, let me port all the core code to Swift, and then anything that has to be Objective-C, I could just do an Objective-C extension to the Swift class. It did not like that either. But this was back on like Swift 4.1, maybe 4.2. So I think now with like 5.3 and everything, like I think everything I wanted to do, Swift can handle. So I have code for core options. It's over-engineered for sure. But that being said, I think it actually will work now. What the hell was I doing anyway? I was checking to see if warnings work. Yeah, okay. I'm sure that's fine. Also sure that's fine. Oh, wait, there's no more. Do we even need this anymore then? If there's no more extended. Really? Let's see what the doc says. Why did they get rid of gamepad? Does extended gamepad just have gamepad? I'm not gonna touch this one because I don't know what's gonna break. Because then we'll have two pointers with the same type. I'm just gonna leave that for now. This isn't my code, that's why. I should just copy this in. I'm gonna ignore these because this is not my code. I think it's a submodule, so I have to commit it to a different Git repo. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I know that. I'm okay with that. I don't care about that. This took 97 minutes to type check? Why? I mean, I could put explicit types, but I did not do that right. Holy shit. I never use types. That doesn't help, but it's Objective-C labeled, so I can be selecting about it. Yeah, it's a submodule. think it's a zip module. Yeah, I hate this library too, but like there's just not we use like multiple zip libraries. There's like one library for 7-zip, there's one library for like standard zips. I think I have a different library for RARs. There's not one library that was CIF compatible and supported all of them, or Objective-C backwards compatible and supported all of them. And we were using this one, the LZMEA Objective-C, for a while. That was pretty standard. I'll get my alias hanging. That was like the standard library everyone used like back in the day. There's probably better ones now. So I should look into that. What I do? Yeah, because some of these deprecations I won't change yet because I don't know what's going to change. Like some of the simple ones, like oh, this was renamed. That's easy enough. Sure, like the so those are easy. These UI document controllers, I feel like this has broader changes that have to be done for that. Yeah, that I know. I'll do that offline. That's all boring stuff. This was like copy pasted this code into that project. Also, not really worried about that. Light off, it's light in the green screen. I mean, so that was a lot of warnings gone. What's the new? So I'm wrapping this. Oh, so we have to just set. I know it. I know what this code is. Does Swift support this now, where you can just do like struct inits like this? That should be the equivalent piece of code. What the fuck is that about? It wasn't mutated. It's right here mutated. Does that not count? It's a class. I guess it's probably a class, which is also stupid, but. took how long to type check again? Like why? It's just a big function. So if I wanted to, yeah, I don't really care. Oh, this should be that. Well, if game which who wrote? I didn't write this. You know, I know I don't write it. I don't use these unnecessary brackets. If game set sheet. What the fuck? Why would cheat code be optional? I feel like I had to look at this code. These are not optionals. Why is this? Oh, because it's yeah, I want to move away from Realm for this reason. It is stupid shit like this. The real way to do it is use different objects, like a Realm object. Actually, I have code where I started doing that too. Where we use like Realm objects and non-Realm objects, and you can convert between them. So we can easily change the database backend. Alright, I've cleared up a good amount of warnings. UI document visual is upgraded first. I don't know what I'm supposed to replace it with though, so if it's not very obvious. Oh, also this is from Objective-C code, so UI document picker view controller. This I know. This is easy to change. I don't really care about it. I'm gonna get rid of this anyway. And this I'm worried about changing. I literally just did this in another file. I should just really make a helper function that does this. instead of copy pasting, this is like that form, right? Instead of copy pasting this code everywhere, I should have like a function that generates these for me. Automatically adjust font requires using a dynamic text style. This is the log controller. These are also benign, though annoying. So expected width, actual 275. So let me update the constraint, I guess. Again, no one uses it anyway with me, so. This is what I hate about Xcode right here. I selected this warning, but I don't know where it is. So many views. I'll just go through the views one at a time. Automatically adjust font size. No. Who's even set to automatically adjust font size? Nobody. Warnings make no sense. UI search plate is deprecated in iOS 8. What? Okay, I don't know how to change that. File is set for a build version older than a deployment target. Is it? Because it says deployment target 11, and that's what we're using. Use a system font. No, it is using a system font. Dynamic type text style. Well, it's not that new then. It's a waste of time. So stupid. I don't know what view is complaining about, because everything is set to not that. I'm not worried about that. Done. I want to say this is probably enough warnings. Fixed. the biggest problem with submodules. I gotta do all these commits individually for those. This one I want to make sure it actually finishes in case one of those benign changes breaks something on a different version of Xcode. So I have to go ahead and use the path. Again, I'm going to do that. Let this run for a minute. Be right back.
Hey yo, Uno, it's the one. It's the one.
Damn, Kyle, you going off.
Doing everything I can, forget about you. I don't wanna do this anymore without you. Doing everything I can, forget about you. I don't wanna do this anymore without you. I think I'm fucked up, think I need to get away. Running through my mind, aren't you tired of the games? I hate the road, yeah, I had to go. I'm burning every single letter that you wrote. I'm tired of chasing love, I'm running out of breath. So I'ma roll this gas, I'm saying fuck the rest. Skinny designer jeans, you can catch me with my team. You see us at the top, cause I got up and chased my dreams. Yeah, I'm still lost on my own. I be all alone, yeah. I live with demons, but sometimes I never home. Cause when I wake up, they will all be gone, yeah. That's why I live alone. That's why I need you, boy, you're always gone. I be on my own. Live with demons, but they're never home. Doing everything I can, forget about you. I don't wanna do this anymore without you. Doing everything I can, forget about you. I don't wanna do this anymore without you, no.
I'm so tired. Tired of living lies, tired of wasting time. Yeah, I'm tired of trying. Hey, I smoke gas to clear my mind. I still hold the wheel, yeah, I'm still riding. Baby, all you gotta do is hit my line. Hey, you know I'm slime. I pull it right behind you, baby.
Okay, one more thing.
You the one I want here by my side. I swear I need you.
It's even playing.
I can't live this life I live without.
So for the next hour, closing Friday of Jack Mantle 2017, I am so delighted to introduce Yup Yupsy back in the boiler room.
Which is good. Just gonna let it run for like one more minute. Yeah, I did that already. Sign into YouTube and it's asking me like for my firstborn's second. There we go. Hasn't failed yet. That's good. I'm just gonna merge it in a second. I think it's probably fine. I was trying to find something I wanted to play. Come on, YouTube. Let's watch one of these yesterday. It's really good. Failed yet. I can't remember. Was it this one? It's gonna be one of these. Only two I've played in the last couple of days. Cool. All right. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and assume this is fine. Close this VR. Let me see. Milestone 201. That's fine. Maybe a little too industrial. Good, but not what I'm in the mood for right now. I don't know, this channel, I guess it's in Berlin, and they just do these sets in this little like bathroom, but they find like all these DJs every day. Oh, Marcus Suckett, him I know. Most people I never heard of before in my life, and they're like, some of them are really fucking good. Marcus Suckett, he used to be a trance DJ back in the day. So this one I'll probably do this one I'll do as a merge commit. So in case there's a problem with one of them. I should probably run Swiftling. Those are cheats. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't write that. I forgot when Safari runs in the background, it starts doing this shit. That's good. So one serious where they complained about this last time is empty. Yeah, because this is a realm thing and there is no count. What the hell? TV game library on line 1148. 1148. Alright, fucking Safari. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, this doesn't have a property called is empty, so that's a bogus warning. Oh, dude, fucking moth in here. That's a big moth. Come on. That's way too many tabs. So I can disable the warning there. I forgot how to do it though. So I'll just disable that Swiftnet warning there. It's empty count. So now I should get no error there. Yeah, 0 errors, 0 serious. That's all I care about. That'll kill the bot. So this I can merge. Alright, so that takes care of that. trying to decide what I want to do next. How much energy? I mean, it's 12:30 here, which isn't like that late for me, but it's getting close. Do I want to do core options? I feel like I have to have, like, I feel like I have to do that during the day when I'm a little bit more rested. I want to do something fun, like, how hard is Flycast support? I already know so much. This is tough. They added new code for ARM64, for instance. There's so many folders in this project. This, on the other hand, shouldn't be that hard to... Attempted to port DuckStation. I need to add the category technology. Yeah, this is like on my second Twitch stream, so I should really... And I'm using Restream, which I paid for like a license. So I don't know if I can set it there. I mean technology like in the streams. Ooh. Twitch autoplay, what the fuck? See, I only have the setting here. I can select a game. Title. Ugh. I hate how the audio skips when it's not in the foreground. I don't know, next time I'll have to set that. I'm like super tempted to try to port DuckStation right now. It's based off a Bedfin and a lot smaller. So in theory, if I already ported that, okay, I get it. I get it. I figure out how to move it to a different window. I had a custom app. See if another browser doesn't have this problem. I put YouTube in the background, the audio just goes to shit. see. So I'm super tempted to just port this. Oh, even Chrome wants to do that? Jesus. So what do I have to do? Oh my god, come on. Fucking YouTube. You're driving me crazy, YouTube. So I think if I just make a new project for that, I'm gonna clone it as a submodule, which is how I've been doing it more lately, which is probably the better way of doing it. Stop. That's what I'm looking for. I can make a web app out of YouTube. So frustrating. No, I don't want to make more than one amp. I think I need my one password. Yeah, I already have an app called that? Okay. Wow. Sorry for the boring part of this feed, but it's gonna drive me nuts if I can't. I guess we can't listen to this at all. I wonder if they have a they have a SoundCloud channel. Look, they do. I forget what I was listening to. As Marcus Suck It, that's right. Wow, would have a really shitty search, SoundCloud. You needed SoundCloud a bunch of times too. Some old school trance. Some cool stuff. Let's go to something I know. Alright, so where did I leave off? Sorry about that really boring segment.
No body heat, no electrical activity, and
yeah, so let's try porting duct station. So
my guess is if we vented the chamber, it'd be pretty right bent.
Give it quite a jolt of electrical current.
Probably vascular collapse, although most parasites when
C6 module and
all right. How do you want to handle
not
this?
that.
Well, we need to know how the creature is able to interface with the human nervous system. I think it'd be best if we split into teams, each one focusing on a different aspect of the alien.
I kind of want to use Xcode Gen to dynamically generate these projects, but that might be a little bit too much for right now. Could copy the bed within project. But that has a lot of files. Maybe try the easy one. Okay. I'm just gonna copy paste these files to make my life easier. Duct station, that's right. It's faster for me to edit these in Visual Studio Code. From the other README. I probably copied it at some point for like reference. Is that correct? Markdown preview. Yeah, okay, that's a link. I always forget what markdown tags are. So that's the duct station code. These are metadata files. Oh, yeah. These are in a weird spot. I should probably just put everything here. Why did I do it this way before in the past? doing some like basic, just copying these files so I have everything ready to go. Then I'm gonna open it into Xcode. Paste this. So, do they use C++? I don't have to use .mm. Yep. So .mm. So now I'll add this. These will all be wrong for a second until I fix them, because I copied the project over. So correct the path. This. Let's remove all these. Add our Objective-C files. Let's copy their URL, give them credit. Version they're on. Do they not have versions? What beer are you having? I got up the local Stop and Shop, which actually has one of the better groceries. They're the only one that have like organic turmeric and ginger. It's a Stop and Shop, but it's a really, anyway, it's a Mission Brewing Company lager. Everything, first of all, I don't know what it is. People love IPAs. Everything near me is an IPA. I personally hate anything that hoppy, particularly high alcohol content IPAs tend to be very hoppy. And everything was an IPA except for this is a gluten-free or gluten-removed, which I don't really care about. But sometimes bread bothers me, so maybe I have a gluten intolerance. Who knows? But it's a lager. Hazies, yeah. So that's one of the few IPAs I like is how's the company? Yeah, the hazies, whatever, because they're not as bitter. I think I have a little bit of a wheat allergy, and I get like a post-nasal drip. And if I was on stream with that, I mean, my voice is nasally as it is. I'm aware of that. If I had a congested nose, it'd be so much worse. So I gotta stay away from anything too hoppy. Though I like a good wheat beer, like a bison wheat. They had two, but they both had citrus in them. I'm trying to stay away from citrus right now. I like a good sour red, like a Belgian. There's a bar in New York City called Rabbit Lounge. It's on McDougal across from the Comedy Cellar. It's kind of like it used to be like a speakeasy because it has a black door with a picture of a rabbit on the front of it. But that bar has it's all like a Belgian / surrounding area beer bar, and they have a ton of sour reds that are so good. We look at Allosaurus and run Degustation I'm literally, you're watching me like literally just create it. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life today, and I told myself I wasn't going to add a new core until I did core options. But so the thing is, if I could do core options, but I'm not gonna do it on stream. It's gonna be me me fighting the Swift compiler, because I know I want to do core options using Swift generics, and like I'm really good at Swift generics. I've written some pretty advanced libraries using some pretty nifty like overrides for Swift generics to do some crazy like runtime shit. Like XML Coder was something I did a bunch of work on for like parsing XML trees dynamically using Swift protocols. But it's a lot of fighting the compiler to get the syntax to work correctly, and it's just not fun to watch on stream, I don't think. So as much as everyone's like, finish that feature, please, before you port another core, I feel like this is more edutainment. That's what I should do is be smart. Work smarter, not harder. Do a finer place inside of this project. How much I love this set. Charlotte's a wit. Check her out. Actually, I should have done starting with. Public headers yet. Well, I will have a DuckStation core, I guess, for public headers. That was a really bad rename. Yeah, all this code was deleted. This was just a template for me to get going. Everything from here is garbage. Everything from here is garbage. I'll probably need OpenGL. Yeah, I don't need this copyright. That's not even valid. Oops, hold on, my audio's fucked up again. There we go. Let me copy the one. So this really comes from Mendefin, so let me copy the one from Mendefin. Oh, this is OpenEMU as well. I don't know, when we ported this, I must have just copied their header as like an example. But they don't even, I mean, we use Swift, they don't, so this is all rewritten. Some of that copyright stuff is like old school. Alright, let me see. So this should be called PB DuckStation core. I don't know if we should really use the preface PB still, but oh, so there is something here I have to do for Mendefin. Mendefin is so DuckStation has PlayStation. We already have PlayStation from Mendefin, so it's a really good example on. So I'm gonna need all this. Yep. I'm gonna need the disk swapping. I'm gonna need Swift's going to remove the preface, so I think it's just going to call it DuckStation. So this was an old hack, importing private classes to get Swift to work, but I think that's not required anymore as well. A lot of stuff was written like for much older versions of Swift that were much more bitchy. If I don't change these now, I'm gonna forget. God around. I'm using like this on Etsy because I have a bad neck, so like I like the touchpad. I like it right in front of me, and it has this little like guard on it, so I don't accidentally touch it with my thumb. But once in a while I do. My cursor jumps across the screen while I'm typing. I gotta compile some instructions on GitHub. Yeah, actually, the GitHub instructions are slightly outdated. Oh, you got this to run. You talk about DuckStation? But it's from CLI and CMake. Yeah, so this is what the difficult part is. I'll actually pause the audio to explain this. The thing that makes Provenance kind of special, but also a pain in the ass, is that all you have to do is open the Xcode project and hit build. Before, you had to run a command line command to download Carthage dependencies, but I just switched to Swift PM, Swift Package Manager, on the last release. Now that all of our dependencies work correctly with it, and a few didn't, I just copy pasted them. So the benefit of like Provenance over like, let's say, RetroArch or a lot of other projects is that you literally just check out the project, hit run, and that's it. The reason it works that way is because I have painstakingly gone through, like, if you look at Mednafin, look at all these targets, right? And inside the build settings is literally every file, but also files we don't support, because the make files will have like, oh, if it's Linux, use this file. If it's Windows, use this file. I have to basically go through the make files and find out like what classes are needed for iOS, which ones aren't, because some of them will just break the compiler, and go through and add these manually. I mean, this is like hours and hours of work porting this, for instance. And like Mednafin, for instance, doesn't have a Git. He just releases, or I'm assuming he just releases zips. So I don't have the history of when files got moved. And the newest version of Mednafin, for instance, just moved a handful of files, and it took me like 2 hours just to like delete all the broken references in Xcode, because like they'll still show up as red. Because if you look in yeah, see some of these I missed. The Mednafin. So like, and this project's insane because it has so many cores, a lot of share code, and then like there's hardware CPU, hardware miss, and like all this stuff got moved from the last release. It took me like hours, and at the end of the day, like the amount of code changes were very negligible. But so yeah, so building DuckStation from Patient or Anal Retentive, I don't know what it is, but fuck that. It's very strange because I have a hard time like reading books sometimes because I can't focus on more than a few pages, and I'll like, you know, miss people's character names, stuff like that. But when it comes to this shit, like I'm trying to talk and also like super tuned into what I'm editing right now. For some reason, I can focus on really dumb shit, like compiler things. Okay, that's correct. But you know, I was trying to read Ulysses the other day. Who wrote that? What is that? Famous writer? I don't remember. I got through the first chapter okay, but it took a lot of concentration. Use of import with C++ modules. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. How do I do it in Mednafin? Yeah, C++ is different here. James Joyce, that was something I was thinking of. Not that I'm like a literary snob, but just, I actually haven't read so many. I've never read like 1984, never read Animal Farm. I was supposed to in school, I just did the Cliff Notes. But as an adult, I'm trying to catch up on my literature. How do I do this correctly now? So I'm looking for the correct imports for C++, which are going to be something like this, because this is also C++. It has this is the reason why we can't switch to pure Swift. I would love to do pure Swift for our core class, but we have 2 dependencies with C++, and I want to say the stable ABI for Swift came with 5.1, but 5.2 for frameworks, and I think C++ support should have came with that. It has to do with like the way Clang and LLVM work for function mangling. And when you get C++ support for LLVM, you also get WebAssembly support, which is super interesting because that means Swift, when there's Swift UI for web, and then you have Swift for WebAssembly through Clang, because it has proper function mangling for overrides, then in theory you could write a Swift UI app that would run in the web browser, which is something I'm kind of working on the side. LLVM, I don't know if that were LLVM, C++, Swift. I don't like LLVM. I'm curious if it works yet. I'll read it later. If C++ is supported by Swift natively now, we could probably start converting some of these cores to Swift, but it would definitely make my life easier. I guess what's the name of this core? What the name? I forgot these class names. I wrote this code, but I wrote it a long time ago. Damn it! Come on, next code. I'm going to open Medithin up another tab so I can reference it, since these are so similar. So I need a responder for PSX. I'm looking for the name of the extension. Alright, so this is the protocol. I think I could do that in Swift, I think, but so this is the code I'm going to need for controller input. I'm going to delete all this. Is all filler. I'm going to delete this. This is from a completely different system. A lot of Swift compiler folks like to show over C++. Yeah, I mean, I'm weird because I went to college at a time when Java was being taught, but I actually went to community college first because I originally applied to like Drexel and MIT, didn't get in, didn't have a backup. Wisely, actually, I ended up working while I was living at home and like went to community college for a couple of years, and because of that, they were a little bit behind, and I learned Borland C, and then when I switched to university at University of Buffalo, normally they learn Java, then they switch to C++ when they learn data structures and algorithms. But I went from C at community college to C++ at university, kind of head first. Like they didn't really, I had to do everything from the command line, like on a Solaris system, and like with no training from the staff. But I kind of figured it out. I wrote my entire project before hitting compile And this was back in the day of GCC, C++ errors. So like obviously I had 1,001 errors I couldn't figure out as like a 21-year-old or 19-year-old kid. But anyway, because of that, C++/C is kind of my like native language. I didn't really get into Objective-C macOS development until I graduated college. So, but I definitely do not care for C++ that much either, to tell you the truth. I have a project I wrote right after school that used heavily templates. And it wasn't a very big project, but it would take like 20, 30 minutes to compile on what was the modern system at the time, just because of templates and GCC. I don't think I need any of this shit. But I mean, C++ basically like gave us some of the concepts that are heavy in Swift. I mean, then C# followed. You could say the same thing about Java, but C++ did it the hard way. It did it without a VM. I also fucking hate Java. I just hate the whole ecosystem. I don't like. Obviously, the UI toolkits are junk. I'm not really a fan of like the JetBeans IDEs. I don't need this. I'm not really a fan of Sun as a company or as a vendor to work with. I've had to work on some of their platforms before and their support. I mean, they're very old school. Like, they'll give you documentation of like 5,000 lines. But if you need actual help, forget it. Java is gross. Yeah. I mean, again, like, yeah, because I went to university in like 2003, and like I guess if you're coming from the viewpoint of a college professor who probably did their degree in the 90s, object orientation, they kept pushing it, but to me I was like, yeah, to me I was like, how else do you even code? Even when I was doing C, we were using like structs and objects. So like, and they would have an orgasm over Java, like protocols, interfaces, and it's like, okay, it still sucks. You can do that in other languages. Honestly, if it wasn't for Android, like, would anyone really care about Java still? And even they're going Kotlin, which is basically a rip-off of Swift, but like it runs on the JVM. It's like, first of all, why do they even still use the JVM? Why not just do what LLVM does and use like a bytecode that's not in a runtime VM? Apparently C#. Because when I first worked on C# a while ago, I was working on the Mono project for a little bit. Like that, you can swap in the garbage collector. There's like a real-time, like a predictable garbage collector. What do you call it? Like if you're doing audio code, you need to have a predictable garbage collection period. Plus, you can swap in a reference counting backend, like what you see in Swift has. So I'm like, why would Java not support that at this point? And then you don't need a VM, you don't need a little garbage collection. Yeah, I looked at the comments. Learning the language is the hard part. It's learning all the SDKs and like learning like what's the equivalent of a UI view controller. I know like Java. I've managed Android devs before, so I know there's like intentions instead of view controller transitions. I know the basics of it, but I just have no desire to learn that really. I should break this out into two windows. I have to copy a lot of these. So this is what's going to be DuckStation. This is Mednathing, which DuckStation is based off of. So in theory, these should be decent defaults. to be the only important part. Yeah, I should probably keep up the buffer. Ooh, pardon me. My audio interface is stupid. See, this is the stuff I'm assuming I'm gonna have to do. I'll have to find whatever the duck station version of this is. I also could open duck station's code. See if they have something that's hard-coded or not.
I'm lost.
So I want to see, like, does duck station have be 400 kilohertz already hard-coded somewhere?
I used to be enough.
Shut up.
I can't be found. So many voices in my head.
Do they have an iOS front end? That's good. Curious if they have like static definitions they use, you can just copy. Look at that make file. Okay, let's get some interesting. Where the hell am I in the project?
Moments of light and dark. We are in the distance.
I have the UI blown up really big so you guys can see it, but it's I shrink it
Again
down
and
one
again
size. There we go.
and again. Forget what's been said. We were in another place. So many voices in my head. Again and again and again.
Alright, it's good to know that's there if I need it. I'm gonna go back to it. I'd rather just charge ahead.
I'm lost.
Yeah, I'll probably need some shit like this too.
I used to be enough. I can't be found. So many voices in my head.
What? Oh. What's the PlayStation controllers?
Moments of light and dark.
PS6.
We are in the distance. Mirror of my memory. Again and again and again. Forget what's been said. We were in another place. So many voices in my head. Again and again and again.
Leave this like that for now.
I'm lost. Forever in the distance.
what is system? I can't remember if that's the core or the plugin. Okay, yeah. So I think it's PSX. Yep. Okay.
So many voices in my head. Voices.
Let me know if it gets too loud. I think this is already a default. Ooh, there's a lot to go here. Okay. Where's the PSX code? Should be about this. Should be about the same. Yeah, sample rate is 44.1 for PlayStation, so that makes sense. What did I do? I do 4000 or 44.1? Do 44100. How do I get the size? Oh. Where does this get set? PlayStation resolution was 620 by 4 or 102. I'm gonna do 640 and 480. This will probably be updated. I don't have a game pointer yet, so. Let's see if this, what am I missing to build? Will this video be saved to my channel? Yeah, I gotta figure out how that works. I'm using Restream, which I don't have the Pro account. But on Twitch, I tried saving the I tried marking the last video for archive, and I think it is. But they're long, so I don't know like with my tier how many hours it supports. But yeah, I'll look to see. I want to start doing Patreon. That's kind of the whole point of doing the streaming too. In which, in this case, I can justify like paying more money for the Pro Twitch or whatever, so I actually can save these videos. At the very least, I can download them and then put them on the website, which that wouldn't happen immediately though. So. But yeah, hopefully this will be saved, assuming I have the support for it on Twitch. Plus, I should probably be going to bed soon. I'm kind of awake. Okay, so far, no, I don't need to compile all this. I have to find out what this project uses. Some kind of pointers as Metafin. This is going to be tricky. I have to find out what the equivalent would be. I'll probably need something similar to this in the future, so I'm going to save that for now. support. Type some more. That should be debug. Our error macro. Alright. It's almost building. Yep. Okay, it built, though there's no code in this yet. So I'm not surprised. But this means we don't have any tactical errors. Let me commit this before I forget. Make a pull request, work in progress pull request. Jesus. Beautiful. Now I actually have to add the dock station code. Because I switched versions of Xcode a few times this week. Must have not signed in. I have two Apple accounts because Apple banned one of them. They're supposed to unban it. This one add static library. This is a new way we've been doing it. It's a new way of doing it where I'm adding static libraries for the core code, so that way our fuzzy wrappers are a little more simple. So now I have to figure out what code has to be in this. This is junk. So much code here. It's depths. Oh fuck. It's like Metathin. It has a bunch of like extra libraries, like zipping and stuff like that. So let me add this here, but not add the code to any targets because I don't know what I'm gonna have to select. Target files. Isn't generating anything. So the way I usually do this is to just try everything and then remove stuff. I could probably make some guesses. I don't need direct 3D. I don't need Vulkan. I think these are dynamically imported. From here. Let's just import it. See, I need this for the simulator. It's gonna cause errors. I'll have to do a special XC. Oh, this I have to do too. I have to change the info paths. Such a good transition. I need to change my header search path. What version of C++ are we using? C make that well, trying to figure this out. Using GCC++, which not surprising. It's an old version of C++ language. Let me just try to change this setting and see what happens. C++ language. Sounds like a new routine.
Rainbow, always after the hours. Can you hear me? Everything changed. Nothing is forever. Time is not a solid
I have less arrows
stone.
this time.
Nothing is forever.
This would be a fucking pain in the ass, isn't it? Assuming these classes. Let's switch back. take another quick pee break and think about this for a second. Oh, this actually might be better. Because while it's more errors, I think the errors got further. Alright, I'll use the restroom real back.
I don't care about what you say.
I should probably use this first. I'm actually going to end the stream here because I'm not going to finish this tonight. I'm going to work on some bullshit stuff for the website. It's going to be really boring, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do that in bed. It's like 2 o'clock here, so I should probably go to bed soon anyway. Get some screenshots for the website and some other bullshit like that. So yeah, here's a good stopping point. I'm going to push what I have so far. At least I can copy it to my other machine. But yeah, this makes sense. All right, so thank you for joining, and I'll put you back on tomorrow. Good night.